Racecourse is the most beautiful racetrack in America, hands down.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the breeding stock sale. Book one. Good to have you back with us.
Hey there, everybody. Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now with your Friday Keeneland look ahead to the Saturday program. It'll be the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup program on Saturday. 10-race card beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern. The QE2, a grade 1 for 3-year-old fillies, the final grade 1 of the Meet Plenty of More stakes action here as we go through the end of the month and into the Breeders' Cup. But as far as the Keeneland Fall Meet proper, this will be the final grade 1 stakes. We'll see if Chad Brown can keep his hot hand going. He's won that race 3 of the last 4 years. He's got a couple top-notch contenders we'll talk about in just a little bit. No carryovers going into the Saturday card. Everything was taken clean off the table on Friday's racing action, and it was a good handicapping day. I probably used up too much of my mojo in one day. 7 winners on top. Happy and proud of that fact. 7 of 10 races on top. We did have a race with a couple scratches where we were down to our third choice as our top pick. Didn't have any luck there, but 7 for 10 on top. We'll take it. Mutuals totaling more than $63 in win bets. So big afternoon in the handicapping circle. The Phillies won 9-1 in game 3 against the Braves, and now I have a 2-1 lead. So I have used up all of my good fortune for one day. But we're looking at tomorrow with the look ahead here. So what goes on here counts towards tomorrow's mojo. So maybe we get a reset there and we can have some good tidings again. But it was an excellent day handicapping. If you were playing the races today at Keeneland, you know this. But if you weren't, good day for Kenny McPeak with a couple winners. His barn is off to a really good start. Graham Motion won the Sycamore Stakes with Highland Chief, and his barn continues to go really, really well. Gangbusters, in fact. Strobe, the impressive Kentucky Derby post-race winner on Derby Day at Churchill, came back to the races in a 7-furlong allowance race, and he said, I am stakes material, with a dominant victory for trainer Brad Cox. So where will Strobe go next off of today's performance? It'll be very interesting to follow. He's kind of a Cigar Mile type, perhaps, or the Malibu if you want to stay against 3-year-olds. The Malibu at Santa Anita in December, the day after Christmas, to open up the winter meet at Santa Anita. That would be a kind of a really nice objective for a horse like that. Of course, you got the whole Churchill meet as well in November. Let's see where they end up with Strobe, but he is a very impressive horse for Godolphin out of Flashing, that really talented mare. He looks like a good one, and his performance today stamped that. Good day for John Velasquez. He swept the late daily double. Of course, he won with Graham Motion and Highland Chief in the Sycamore, then came back with a Monzo and won the nightcap. So Johnny V with a nice day, sweeping the final 2. And Brian Hernandez early in the card. He was the rider of note, winning 2 races early in the program. So Hernandez, Velasquez, each with a double in the training column for Kenny McPeak, and a really nice day overall. For our handicapping, it was one of those horse for course angles with Teano Twist. We said his impressive 2-year-old race last year. Had he lost form, or would he regain it back here at Keeneland? We were hoping that he would. He was a nice winner for us. I believe, $17, $18 on the mutual, and Teano Twist coming through for us in allowance company with his return to Keeneland. So that was nice to see. Let's look ahead now to the Saturday program that we have at Keeneland, a 10-race card. And as we do each night in the Keeneland look ahead, we give you a look at the big picture. Here's how the 10-race card lines up in terms of wagers. The pick 5 is going to start in race number 1. The early pick 5, that is. The early pick 4 starts in race number 2. That'll go through 2 through 5. The 5th race then starts the pick 6. Again, we start fresh, no carryover. We do have the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 on Saturday with a trio of stakes races. So in green, you see TP3. That's the Turf Pick 3. Races 5, 7, and 9 will comprise that Keeneland Turf Pick 3. And if you go to the outside here on the right side column, you'll see that race number 6 is going to start the late pick 5. Late pick 4 on Saturday is going to start in the 7th. And then, of course, the stakes race on the program, race number 9. That is the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. Our 3 key plays of the day. We've got trainer Wayne Catalano that we're looking to see if we can't keep his horses purring. The Catman, his horses are running big. We'll talk about his horse in race number 2, one of the early card standouts, I think, in terms of an opportunity at a horse at a decent price. And similar to what we hit today with Teano Twist, there's a horse for course angle, I think, that we can kind of lean back at, a horse who's hinting back to what was really good form here in the past. That could be happening in race number 5, so we want to look forward to that one. And there's some big favorites I expect to see in races 6 and 9. Sunny River, short price in the morning line, and in race 6. And then in race number 9, McCulloch is going to be a big favorite for Chad Brown in the stakes race. Can we beat one of those two? Because if you look at the late pick 5, you don't want to take 2 super short prices and get excited. So which of those 2 or both or none can we beat? That's the key to how we handicap the Saturday card at Keeneland. Let's go to the handicapper selectors box now. We'll start handicapping this 10 race card with race number 1. We bring this box up each night so that you can see how the handicappers are in agreement or how we are in disagreement. Do we have the same kind of horses in each race? Is it a wide open race where there's 4 or 5 different top choices? Is everybody in agreement on a horse who's going to be a universal single? That's what we're looking for by presenting this box. Now, you can get the picks here at Keeneland.com on the handicappers consensus page. It's also a printable feature there. You get a nice clean look to print it out. This is a screenshot directly of what you'll see there on the website. So we start with race number 1. This is a mile and a 16th, $32,000 claimer. This is kind of like a mid to upper level claimer at Keeneland. Of course, we get down to around the 10,000 ranks at the bottom. You can get up as high as like 50. So at 32, we're kind of mid to upper here. And you get a different kind of horse in these races than you do in a lot of the claiming races because there are no conditions. You know, a 32,000 claimer, it's just for horses who are offered for sale for $32,000. So you may have a horse who's won 2 or 3 races. You may have a horse who's won 15 races as a veteran. Backside of the Moon is a 10-time winner in this race, for instance. So you get some real veterans in there, and then you get some horses like 2nd of July who have made just 12 career starts and has 3 wins, an excellent record. But horses of different seasons, if you will, in their career match up in these kind of open $32,000 claiming level races. Mile on the 16th, the trip here, and I think it's going to suit well for Backside of the Moon. This is a horse who's coming off a win, pressing the pace last time out. This is a 10-year-old who's just really found his groove again. His last 2 starts have been excellent. He won in July at Churchill. He came back and won during the September meet at Churchill. Tyler Gaffalione riding for Robertino Diodoro. Diodoro had a nice win on the card today. So that barn going well as it usually does by percentages. And, I think this horse Backside of the Moon, despite being 10 years old, I think he's quick, but he doesn't have to be to the front. But I think he's going to be near the front because there's not a lot of pace in this race. Mr. Pit Boss down to the inside, don't have much early gas. I think Blue Steel will try to go out there. Backside of the Moon can be fairly close up. I don't think the horse will be on the lead. You might get some speed from 2nd of July, but I think Backside of the Moon might be able to sit around 2nd, 3rd in here, which could be a great trip under Tyler Gaffalione. Similar to last time when sitting 2nd, just a length off of it. If we can get that kind of trip, we'll be happy again. Now I'm on an island. This is not going to be a long shot, but everybody else is going with the number 7 horse, 2nd of July. Big class drop for this one. This horse has been, a stakes winner, won the Futurity at Belmont as a turf sprinter back in 2020. Now age 4 for Kenny McPeak. McPeak, like we said, had a good day today. Hernandez had a good day. 2 wins for each of those guys, and so they're teaming up with hot connections. I've got no argument with anybody taking 2nd of July. To me, it looks like a 2-horse race. I do prefer Backside of the Moon, but I could definitely see 2nd of July in there. Blue Steel's going to go towards the front, maybe make the front in here. Hasn't raced since last December, first start back. George Leonard, the trainer, off a long layoff, doesn't have many horses off of this kind of layoff. So how Blue Steel is going to perform is a little bit of an uncertainty, but I'll take a stand against Blue Steel this time. I think the horse can run well in the lead, but he'll probably give it up at the end. I think if you're too deep in race number 1 between Backside of the Moon and 2nd of July, you probably have it covered in there with the 5 and the 7. But I'll go with Backside of the Moon, who I think will be the better price of the 2, especially based on the the handicappers grid there, when 4 out of the 5 handicappers are going with second in July, almost tells you that one will go favorite. That's fine with me. We'll take that to start the early pick 5, but too deep in there. Race number 2 starts the early pick 4. It's a mile maiden special weight on the turf, and these races have provided some prices, so don't be afraid to take a little bit of a price in this kind of race. These are a long shot profile. The average winner of a 2-year-old turf maiden special going long at Keeneland here in the fall meet is almost 10-1. So I'm going to take a price in here, and this is where I'm going to try to get Wayne Catalano rolling again. He's got Iconicus in here, and this is one of my key plays early in the card. Iconicus, race number 9, or horse number 9, I should say, post 9 in this turf mile, coming out of a couple sprint races, but the pedigree, the sire Ironicus was a really good turf miler, ran well on the grass at Saratoga, mile and a 16th kind of horse. So I think the even sprints, 2 sprints for this horse have been very even, didn't make huge rallies, didn't back up, just even Steven. Tells me the horse wants to run 2 turns. Even running sprinters stretch out a lot with success. I like it. I like the fact Catalano's barn's going very, very well at the meet. Give me the 9 Iconicus, and I'm almost on a complete island here. Only Gabby's got the 9 listed in the top 3. So I think we're going to get a fair price, and that's what we're looking for in this race, which profile says you can get a horse on average at about 9.5, 10-1. So no problem taking a price here in this kind of race. Also, because I think the 11 and the 12 are the other logical horses in here, and they've got tough post positions. It's not an easy post for Iconicus either, but it doesn't get any easier for the 11 or the 12 out there. Evaluate for trainer Chad Brown. And the 12, Spanish Double Loon. Spanish Double Loon comes off a second place finish, just missed by a nose. Mark Casse had a horse that looked very similar to this on paper today. Made the late rally, didn't get there, was just kind of, a factor only in the exotics and never a factor on the win end. We'll see if Spanish Double Loon doesn't show a little bit more speed here. This is one that's coming out of a sprint to a route. How much gas will Tyler Gaffalione use on the 12 from the far outside post? That could leave him a little bit wanting in the end. I'm not wild about the first-time starters in this particular spot. None of them jump off the page at me. Maybe the horse Royal Salute for Brian Lynch might be of the first-time starters, the one that's most interesting. Gabby's got that one picked second. But I didn't use any of the first-time starters. I like a horse with some experience in a turf mile like this. So among the 2-year-olds, give me Iconicus as one of our key plays early in the card. You see down at the bottom, key play 1. We'll see if we can get Wayne Catalano, the Catman, to keep purring. This horse was 65-1 and 23-1 in the first 2 starts. So I'm expecting we can get 10 or 12-1 here, even with the Catman's barn going pretty well right now. Let's move on to race number 3 on the program. No wager starting in race number 3. This is one where Sue Ellen Michigan and Busy Echo, the 4 and the 5, get all the top picks from the public handicappers. And I've got it that way. I've got it 5-4. So if you look at this race, and Super Tale of Houdini is the 3rd option in here, perhaps. This is a 2 or 3 horse race when you're talking about multi-race wagers. I don't think you want to get too deep into this one. Maybe, if you could pick a single out, great. Sue Ellen Michigan's never been in for a claiming tag, so this is like a true class drop in for the $20,000 claimer in this dual condition claimer. It's for non-winners of 3 lifetime or 3-year-olds. None of the horses have won more than 3, so there's really no class advantage to be asserted in this race that you sometimes get in these dual conditioned races. But, I thought Sue Ellen Michigan's races have been hot and cold, but, when she's good, she's pretty decent. And, she comes off a nice win last time out at Finger Lakes. She debuted a winner at Saratoga last year, so much so that they took a shot with her in the grade 1 spinaway. That didn't work out, but I think she'll be forwardly placed in here. I like speed and claiming races on the main track, and speed's been very good so far this meet on the main. Other front runners in here, Busy Echo's not going to be far off of it. Legendary Gift has a little bit of pace. Super Tale of Houdini, versatile on the pace, sometimes sent, but last time came from off of it. I don't think it's an overwhelming early pace. I took Sue Ellen Michigan in here, but this is not a very confident pick. I would definitely want to use Busy Echo as well. And if you use Super Tale of Houdini and want 3 deep, I wouldn't have any argument with you on that. I think, 2 to 3 deep in here. Sue Ellen Michigan, I believe, is a Seinfeld character. So if you're a fan of Seinfeld, maybe you jump in there with Sue Ellen, Michigan in race number 3. That'll be the top pick. Now, race number 4 is an interesting one for me because, look, I try to figure out trainer intent. And if you read the stats blog at Keeneland.com that I have in the expert pick section for Saturday's card, I try to explain it out a little bit. But there's a situation here where trainer Bentley Coombs in race number 4 has got 2 horses entered in a 7-horse field. He's got Aggressivity, the outside horse, and he's got the 2 Shadow Matter. When a trainer runs 2 horses in the same race, he's either got so many good or she's got so many good horses in the barn that they just can't find anywhere else to run them without running them against each other. You'll see that with Todd Pletcher sometimes. You'll see that with Chad Brown, folks like that, leading trainers at a meet. When Bentley Coombs runs 2 horses in a race at Keeneland, the other alternative is there's only 7 in this field. He really wanted this race to go. And by go, I mean, when entries were taken for this race, they were struggling to fill the field. And if this race is going to go and be run, you needed to hustle somebody else into the field. That situation, when there's a short field, 5, 6, 7 horses, and one trainer's got 2 of them in the field, chances are they really want somebody in this race, and they had to put somebody else in to ensure there'd be enough entries that they kept the race and didn't scrap it and use something else out of the condition book. I'm assuming here a little bit, but Aggressivity and Shadow Matter, both owned by 10 Strike Racing, Marshall Graham's group, and the very sharp owners here. I think they like one of these 2 horses quite a bit. They claimed both horses, Shadow Matter and Aggressivity, out of the same $32,000 race, September 23rd. Now, with Shadow Matter, they go to Morales, who had a great meet at Keeneland or at Churchill, and as a rider who's had success winning twice with just 5 mounts with this outfit. They go with Riquelme for the outside horse, Aggressivity, and just not the same level of rider. So I think the rider is the tell here. And I think the fact that they're both in here is very, very interesting. So I think there's a sneaky play here going in race number 4 with the 2 Shadow Matter. And again, I'm on an island here because if you just handicap on paper, you say, all right, Shadow Matter looks okay, but it's a 6% trainer stepping up in class off the claim for $32,000. I just like other horses in here. But I'm trying to go a little creative, think outside the box, and try to get inside the mind of the trainer intent and the entry here. And if I'm right, it'll pay off nicely because Shadow Matter looks like a horse who could be 6, 8, 10 to 1 in here. And nobody else picking in the top 3 except Kim's got him 3rd. So I'm taking a shot with Shadow Matter as the play here in race number 4. A lot of respect for Macron, for Steve Asmussen. Big class drop here coming out of stakes at Remington and Mountaineer and Prairie. Has been shopped around the country. A stakes winner, the Iowa Sprint in July. Now you can pick this up for $40,000, this Gelded Son of Frosted. You can almost be sure Macron is going to get claimed out of this spot. The other one to watch is Cost Basis. You must respect Robertino Diodoro with another claim that he's going to bring here. He's had success. We talked about it going into the card today. He won with the horse off the claim today. I would expect Cost Basis to be strong as well. So while I like Shadow Matter and I like all this, behind the scenes stuff that goes with it, it's not one of my key plays of the day because I think Macron and Cost Basis are going to be very difficult to beat. These are really tough horses. So I think the way you want to attack with Shadow Matter is get some win money, but also look at some exacta boxes. Shadow Matter with Cost Basis, the 4 or the 5, I should say, 2 with the 5 and 2 with the 6 and Macron. I think if you play those, I think you're okay. But Gabby's got the 1, Emerald Express, Lieutenant Junior Grade, 3 for Tom Leach. So when you look across here, you've got top picks for the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Nobody has a great feel for race number 4, and it's only a 7-horse field, and there are 5 top picks in this spot. So I think we're going to get a spread out tote board. But I like Macron and Cost Basis as the horses I trust most of the others. I'm going to use the price. So 2 to win, exacta boxes 2, 6, and 2, 5. And if I can get Shadow Matter 1st or 2nd, and I'm right on the sneaky trainer owner angle, maybe we got something here. So we'll go with that in race number 4. Let's go back to the big board as race number 5 is next. And this is one that is on our key playlist for the day. We're looking for a little deja vu out of a horse named Gray's Creek. This will start the pick 6. It also kicks off the Keeneland Turf pick 3. This is an allowance race, pretty much a stakes race at 1 mile and a 16th. It's a stakes race in certainly the representation in here. In Love, last year's winner of the Grade 1 Keeneland Turf Mile in the fall meet, comes back in this allowance spot. Now, hasn't won since, and In Love will try to get back on the beam for trainer Paulo Lobo, but if In Love was as good as he was last year or even close to it, you would have seen him last week in the Grade $1 million race. Instead, he's running an allowance race for $140,000. A big purse, no doubt, but it's an admission that he is off his best. So I will try to beat In Love with some respect for him. Moulage, the 2 is a Chad Brown trainee coming out of the Bernard Baruch Stakes. Did not run well in there. They go to Lasix for the first time for this French export. And Moulage is probably a horse you definitely want to consider in there. The way Chad Brown on the turf always has to be respected. But I'm going back to Gray's Creek. If you watch this horse win here during the summer meet back in 2020, it was a fantastic turn of foot. Looked absolutely hopeless at the top of the stretch. Looked hopeless at the 16th pole and just laid it down. This horse really got over the turf well here back in 2020. Now, a couple subsequent starts at Keeneland says, well, what kind of horse for course is he if he came back and he ran 7th beaten, 3 lengths in allowance company, and he ran 5th beaten 2? In both of those races, if you look at the running lines, you're going to see the margin shrink. This horse made a move in both of them and then flattened out. Missed time rides, situational, where the pace and the fractions weren't just right. But if things work out well in this spot, I really think Gray's Creek is going to turn it on and make one good run. They went to jockey Gerardo Corrales last time at Ellis Park, an allowance company, and that ride was timed like a Rolex. And that's what you're looking for with this horse. They found just the right timing last out with Corrales. He's back aboard here. It's Paulo Lobo. He's also got In Love in this particular spot. I just really like Gray's Creek in here, and this is one of my key plays of the day. He's another big price in the morning line. We've had a couple 15-1 morning lines this week pop in. We've had several $17, $18 kind of horses. It's been a really good handicapping week of saying, you know what, forget the line, forget the expectations, go with what you think and press that opinion. Scott's also on the 7 Gray's Creek in here. I love this horse. And I'll tell you, if you're looking multi-race wagers, I would be bold enough to throw a single out there. If you want to play the pick 4 and the pick 5 and single to any of the horses I've got picked in the first 5 races, I think I like Gray's Creek better than the rest of them. So that says something at the price. What kind of price will he be? Maybe he'll get bet down off the 15 and be 6, 7, 8 again. But if we get another $15 horse in and it's a key play for you, intra race, it helps you in that pick 4, it helps you in that pick 5. That's what you're looking for. So Gray's Creek in race number 5, really one of the linchpins of the day for me. If he has a good effort in race number 5, I'm feeling good about the pick 4. I'm feeling good about the early pick 5, and I'm feeling good about the win potential and the price that we could get there. To the 6th race we go next on the Saturday card. These are maiden special weights going a mile and a 16th on the main track. And look, Sunny River is going to be a big favorite in here for trainer Brad Cox. Let's see how the early pick 5 stacks across the line with my fellow handicappers. It's Sunny River for Scott and Tom. It's Sunny River for Gabby. And then Kim's got Forever After All, the 8. I went with the 4 Inventing for trainer Todd Pletcher. Pletcher's horses are running big at the meet. This one coming off a mile race, a 1-turn mile last time at Aqueduct. Has run the 1-turn mile at Belmont and has run the 1-turn mile at Churchill. I love 1-turn milers when they stretch out to the mile and a 16th here at Keeneland. They only have to get to the 16th pole finish line, so the 1-turn milers usually have a little brilliance about them. They can get in position for the 2-turn race, and then when they turn for home, they just got to get to that 16th pole. So I like Inventing coming out of the 1-turn mile. I know Sunny River's coming out of the exact same thing, and you say, well, why would you lean on one over the other? It's about the results, right? I mean, Sunny River was beaten last time at 89 cents on the dollar. The time before that, he was beaten at $1.11. So he's lost at 4 to 5 and 6 to 5 in his last 2. If he wins, you tip the cap and you say, good job. And I tried to beat you at a little bit better price. That's simply what it's about. I think Inventing's on a similar plane. I don't think Sunny River's that much different, but I think you're going to get, considerable difference in price. Sunny River's probably going to be even money again. And maybe you can get 2 to 1 on Inventing. And if you're looking at the late pick 5, a lot of people, when the pick 5 comes up and they see an even money shot on the board, like Sunny River, they're just going to go ahead and single and assume they can get through this leg because the public must be right. Well, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. But if you beat the public in that first leg, all of a sudden your price goes up. The rest of the way, you can look at the rest of the pick 4 sequence or the next 4 races of the pick 5 and feel good about yourself that you beat an even money in the first leg. Feel good that you're going to get a nice payoff. And so that's the position you can be in after race number 6. Sunny River, looks logical. I got no argument if somebody wants to take him. I think it's about price, though, and being bold and knocking off the price who's been beaten favorite twice. Forever After All, you've got to consider in here as well. Trainer Al Stahl has had an excellent meet to start here. Forever After All, though, is like a little bit more of a come from behind her. A couple mile and an eighth races already on the belt, under the belt, beaten at 3-5 last time. If they've gone a mile and an eighth, they kind of admit we really don't have any speed. So now they're turning back to the mile and a 16th in the short stretch. I think Forever After All is going to run out of real estate and just kind of run evenly through the lane. So I think this race comes down to the 2 big favorites. It's Inventing and it's Sunny River, but I'll take my shot with Inventing in there in race number 6. Let's go to the 7th on the Saturday card at Keeneland. Pick 4 starts in here, the late pick 4. Also, the Keeneland Turf Pick 3 kicks up its heels in leg B. So it's races 5, 7, and 9 for the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. 7th race is one where I've got to be honest here. This is one where the horse I like best is on the also eligible list. His name is Permafrost, 2-year-old by Frosted out of Rejoicing. Just a blue hen mare, just done tremendous. This whole female family tracing back to, Personal Ensign. And I like Permafrost stretching out here to the mile off the debut when running 4th with some trouble. I know you're in post 15 to start, or you're in saddle towel 15. The best you can do maybe is post 12 if you draw into this race. It's going to be a tough post position. But the horse I like the most is Permafrost in here. We're going to have to wait for the scratches and changes, honestly, to see if we have much of play with that one. As we look at the other handicappers across the way in race number 7, it's Ashcroft the 7. It's the 11, 6 Missions, number 7. Worthington, the top pick for both Gabby and Kim. And Worthington looks like the most logical horse in here for sure. Coming off a 3rd place finish in the career debut and a tough post at Kentucky Downs, going 7 furlongs from the outside. A good effort in that one. Should move up 2nd career start. Mike Baker's not a great first-time out trainer. So when a horse like this runs well, outruns the odds 18-1, I think Worthington's a logical horse in a race that doesn't have a lot that you're really going to get too excited about. Team Leader's kind of a tough one to get an evaluation of. Comes off a beaten favorite situation in both the first 2 career starts. Adds blinkers, tries the turf, but Brendan Walsh's barn is just ice cold at the meet. I mean, Walsh can't get anything going. He had a favorite today at the short odds and I think finished 2nd or 3rd. It's just not clicking for Brendan Walsh right now. So to take Team Leader, who's been beat at 8-5 and 2-1 in the 2 career starts, is the favorite. Now switching, it's kind of a grab bag. You switch surfaces, you add the blinkers. If Team Leader wins, again, you just kind of, tip your cap if, and wish Brendan Walsh well. You don't certainly want to see anybody in a poor streak where things aren't going right for him. But if you're gambling on the races, you just have to kind of play it by the numbers and not your heart and sympathies. Brendan Walsh is kind of a bet against right now with a lot of his horses. So I would try to go against Team Leader. One long shot to keep an eye on in here. We've tried this angle, I think, twice this week already, and haven't had too much success. The horses have kind of run middling races, but Tollgate Canyon's another one where Joe Sharp comes in 2nd time start. He moves to Luis Saez and upgrades the rider. This is usually, like, I would think, an aggressive move and a positive move. His horses move way up in the 2nd career start. So give him an out the first time with Biscuitza up. Now they come back with Saez and Mean Business in start 2. Jock trainer combo hits, 33% here at Keeneland. But I've tried this once or twice this week with these connections to no avail. So Tollgate Canyon is one I think it's a price, I believe 20-30-1 on the morning line here in race number 7. I think it's one you might be able to get a little creative with and try to use a bit. But again, I will like Permafrost. If Permafrost gets into the race, I'm not worried about the rest of it. It's just a straight win bet for me at that point. I like Permafrost quite a bit, but we've got to see the scratches and changes to know how we can even really attack this race. If Permafrost is not in the race, this becomes a widespread race for the pick 4 and pick 5. Race number 7 is not one that you're going to lock down here. It's part of the Keeneland Turf pick 3, and you're probably going to have to spread. Now, look, I do like Gray's Creek in race number 5 as far as the Keeneland Turf pick 3 goes, and I would only use Gray's Creek in there. I feel good about him. So if you want to spread in the 7th race, and then if you can narrow down the 9th, the Keeneland Turf pick 3 could be very attractive here because Grace Creek's not going to be among the favorites. I think the horse will be a fair price in race number 5. If you can go deep on each $3 combination on the ticket, you can in race number 7. Now you're starting to give yourself a chance. If Grace Creek wins, you could be sitting on a nice Keeneland Turf Pick 3 into the stakes race, which has, a smaller field and more limited options. And even if you like the favorite McCulloch in there, then you could take McCulloch as a single in race number 9. If you can spread out in the 7th and get Grace Creek home in the 5th, I wouldn't argue with anybody trying to take that kind of approach. We said, maybe we can beat one of the chalks, Sunny River, in race number 6. The other one would be McCulloch in race number 9 that we can try to knock off if we get there. But before that, we've got to get to race number 8. And 8th race on the card is a tough one. This is one where I don't have, again, there are a couple of races that I really like. I think Iconicus in race number 2 gets me excited. I think that trainer angle with Shadow Matter in the 4th is interesting. The Grace Creek race for sure in race 5. But now I'm getting into some of these races where when I don't have an opinion, I tell you so. I don't have a strong opinion. I used You're So Silly on top in this race, in race number 8. You look across Scenic Masterpiece, the top pick by 3 of the public handicappers, and Cancel This, the other one. So 6, 5, and 2 look like the logical horses, and those are the ones I have in my top 3. But which order you shake them up and pull them out, I don't have any strong opinion on there. The one thing about You're So Silly, comes off a win last time by 3/4 a length at 26-1. But look at the distance they put on the 3rd horse, 7.5 lengths back to 3rd in a big field of 12. So they spread eagled that field. And You're So Silly, fast fractions, finished up in 110 flat. Good time for maidens. So maybe she comes right back. Phil Simms is kind of hot and cold at Keeneland over the years. Sometimes you get a Phil Simms roll going. We haven't seen him at the meet yet, I don't believe, to this point. It's a little bit of a reach. I don't think you're going to get a great price on anybody in this race. This is a tough one for me to really embrace intra-race too much. Cancel This, the 2 has been, right there knocking on the door. Top 3 finishes in 4 of the last 5 races, but no wins in quite some time. And since breaking the maiden as a 2-year-old last November. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 races in a row for Cancel This without a victory. Can I get too excited on that one at a single digit price? Probably not. So maybe it is Scenic Masterpiece coming in from California. Jonathan Wong, one of the top trainers at Golden Gate Fields. If you're not familiar with him, he had a good summer at Del Mar too. Jonathan Wong, usually the top trainer by a long distance at Golden Gate Fields in Northern California with the synthetic runners. Scenic Masterpiece has never run on the synthetic, so that might tell you that he knows that she doesn't like it that much, perhaps. It's been all turf, and then they went down to Del Mar and Santa Anita to run on the turf. Maybe Scenic Masterpiece just, handles these. Comes off a 4th place finish last time in the Chillingworth Stakes. In the Chile, CC was the dominant winner there, last year's Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint winner. There is nobody in that zip code in this race. I mean, this is not a very good allowance race. So Scenic Masterpiece coming out of that race, getting beat 6th last time. Prior to that, ran against Awake at Midnight. It's a pretty good Doug O'Neill Stakes kind of horse. Running lines certainly go to Scenic Masterpiece. Probably the horse to beat in here, and probably the one I should have taken on top. Makes a lot of logical sense. If the 5 is the where you want to lean in here over the 6, you get no argument from me in here. Good effort last time for the 6 in a fast time, and kind of running out of the home stall here at Keeneland. Has worked well at Keeneland in the past. So could be a little horse for course there. You're So Silly, a tepid choice over the 5, Scenic Masterpiece. I guess looking at this and talking it through a little bit more, you're probably too deep in here and pretty comfortable in the pick 4 and pick 5. You're So Silly if you want to go for the upset. Scenic Masterpiece looks logical. Off the 8 straight losses, if Cancel This beats you in this particular spot, you just move on and create a new ticket for the 9th race. But so I'd say too deep in the pick 4 and pick 5 in race number 8. 9th on the card is the final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. It's our stakes feature of the day, the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. And Chad Brown has got 2 horses in here. He's got the favorite, McCulloch. She's coming off a win last time out in the Jockey Club Oaks Invitational. Let's go check that one out in New York.
Toscana Bell getting closer in second, and now McCulloch She makes her move on the extreme outside. There goes McCulloch up to challenge for the lead. Toscana Bell's in between horses and beside herself down at the rail. It is McCulloch ranging up on the outside, and McCulloch has now taken the lead. Toscana Bell continues to battle on, and down at the rail is beside herself. And now coming on late on the outside is Miss Yearwood. It is McCulloch with the lead. Toscana Bell not giving up. They come on for the finish, and it is McCulloch to win the Grade 3 Jockey Club Oaks under Rod Ortiz Jr.
That was an impressive turn move by McCulloch, almost like a turf miler, but that race was at 1.375 miles. Then kind of flattened out a little bit in the end in victory, but, stylishly enough to get over a field that wasn't stellar. I think that field matches up kind of similar to this one. This one's actually a little bit tougher than McCulloch faced last time. The one thing about McCulloch is hasn't won back-to-back races yet. Has followed up all the victories with defeats, although the defeats haven't been terrible efforts. Beating a length and a half, length and 3/4 when running seconds and thirds, but hasn't doubled up yet. And I'm wondering, the victories have come at 1.25 miles, 1.375 miles. Did win at 1.16 miles in Maiden Company in the debut at 4-5. But the race is a little bit shorter, like here at the 1.125 distance, have been where she hasn't been quite as effective. Is she better longer than she is shorter? And will she come with that same pop in this race that she did in the longer races? Be curious to see. If she's going to get beat, and the thought that I'm going to take with it is her stablemate. Gia Romantica is going to be my pick in the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. I think they're going to send to the lead in here. There is no speed at all in this race. None of the horses in here are really confirmed front runners. The Irish import Paris Peacock has a little bit of forward ability about her, but that usually doesn't translate to American speed going to the front. None of the others in this race want anything to do with the first flight. So I think Gina Romantica is going to go to the front in here. She's a stablemate with Chad Brown's other horse in here, McCulloch. And Flavian Pratt, I think, is going to get the instructions of go take it to him on the front end. We saw that a week or so ago in the First Lady Stakes when Chad Brown had the big favorite Regal Glory. He also had In Italian in the race, who was Lone Speed. In Italian went out. The other Brown horse just kind of let him go. And before you know it, it was too late. In Italian had scooted clear and won. And Regal Glory was left finishing second in an effort that was certainly pace responsible. The pace was responsible for her defeat that day. That could be the situation here again with the same connections. I think Gina Romantica is going to be sent to the front, and McCulloch's going to have to come run her down. I think it's one of the two Chad Brown horses, and it's as simple as that to me, and it's kind of a pace play. But I think Gina Romantica, if sent to the front, I think we're going to know in the first 20, 30 seconds of the QE2. If Gina Romantica is sent to the front by Flavian Pratt, then what we're hoping happens is plausible, and we can set it up. If Gina Romantica does not break with any early interest and is just part of the pack with some of the others, I don't like her chances as much. I mean, she did rally last time in the Pebbles and run a decent second. She can finish, but I just think her best shot to win this particular race would be to go to the front. Kim Nelson also is on Gina Romantica in here. New Year's Eve, the top pick for Tom Leach. Bella Bell, the top pick for Scott Hazelton. Gabby is the only one picking McCulloch, and I think McCulloch's going to be even money, 4-5 in this spot. So it's really interesting. We're all looking to beat the favorite in here, it seems like. Four or five different horses picked on top. Nobody took She's Gone. Nobody took California Angel. And nobody took Paris Peacock. So 4 horses picked on top amongst the 5 public handicappers. We'll see how it turns out. Let's give a shot, though. I think Gina Romantica has a chance to pull the upset. Pick 4, pick 5 players, though. Use both Chad Brown horses. This is not a situation where I'm devoutly against McCulloch. I just think pace-wise, if the scenario plays out the way that I think it could, we could be looking at a minor upset. And Gina Romantica would be a decent straight play at 3-4-1 and a cold exacta with the 2 Brown horses. I mean, you just play this, 2-6 until they tell you to stop betting at the windows if you think the upset is possible, because I do think McCulloch will run her race and still be there for the exacta. So try to work out your wagers that way, feather it out, win bet, exacta, and too deep in the multi-race wagers that end there in race number 9. Keeneland Turf pick 3. Also a situation where maybe you go too, I think you do go too deep here because I'm singling Grays Creek in the 5th at a price. Then I can spread out and use as many horses that after scratches and looking at the also eligibles and such that we feel have a shot in race number 7. We're going to use quite a few there. We can afford to probably go too deep in here and use both Chad Brown runners in the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Same goes for the late pick 4, late pick 5. I would use both of those in there. So trying to beat 2 chalks, I think we're going to beat 1 in race number 6. I think Sunny River is a little bit vulnerable in there, and I think we might beat 1 in race number 9 as well. So if you want to play the late pick 4 or pick 5, there's some reason to do so, because if we knock off a couple of those favorites, 1 or 2 of them, then you're starting to look at some really nice potential payoffs. 10th and final race on the card on Saturday. We get to see Beverly Park in action. Beverly Park was entered here earlier in the week. I believe it was on Thursday, and scratched out of a starter allowance when cross-entered into this race. Now, the race on Thursday was for about a $40,000 purse. This one's for $60,000. I think it's bold because they would have been 3 to 5, 4 to 5 in that race on Thursday. They wanted to run for more money. They waited for the bigger purse, the tougher starter allowance race to come up. I like that confidence play. Beverly Park, if you don't know, is an 11-time winner this year. 23 starts this year. It's like a harness record, right? I mean, we're here in, I don't know, it's October. What are we, about 35, 40 weeks into the year? And the horses run for the 24th time coming up. Now, last year, Beverly Park was 9 for 10 with a second-place finish. So her success this year just didn't drop out of the sky. You're talking about a filly who is 20 for 33, or a horse, I should say. The horse, Beverly Park, is a horse, a 5-year-old horse, who is 20 for 33 over the past 2 years, 21 career victories. You're going to have to beat Beverly Park and knock them off the court. It's like kind of like a pickup game. You know, you play make it and take it, and you play pickup games, and you stay on the court until somebody beats you. Well, somebody's going to have to beat Beverly Park to get them off the court. So I like him in the finale. I think you just settle in on that runner. Beyond that, Feast has a good shot in here coming out of the Rumson Stakes, a win last out in Stakes Company and a fast time at Monmouth. That was going 5 furlongs. More of a 5 furlong horse, trying 6. So you know the speed's going to be there with Feast. It's about the stamina for 6 furlongs. Beverly Park's pretty pace versatile, and I think that's going to be helpful. So I would expect Feast to have the lead in this race for a good bit of it. Beverly Park to run him down. That's kind of the story with everybody here, right? A lot of 7-10s, 10-7s across the way. I would single with Beverly Park and go with it that way. If Feast beats me on the front end, so be it. Feast had a shot here at Keeneland going 6.5 for just a 20,000 claimer and backed up. A little different ball game going 6.5 than some of the races that Feast has been in lately. So I'm on Beverly Park. I'm all in the finale. And my apologies for calling Beverly a her. Beverly Park, of course, the 5-year-old horse and the winningest horse in America this year. No horse has won more races than Beverly Park with 11. That number will probably hold up for the entire year, but don't be surprised if number 12 doesn't come on Saturday in the finale. That's going to wrap up our preview of the Saturday Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. First post is 1 o'clock at Keeneland. Be sure to check with Scott and Gabby tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. as they have Keeneland today, and they'll give you all the scratches and changes, Tom Leach's long shot plays of the day, the clocker reports. Updated scratches will be a big deal for us. We want to see if Permafrost stays in race number 7 or doesn't draw in off the AE list. We'll check all that out with Scott and Gabby at 11:30 tomorrow. Good luck, everybody. We'll be back on Saturday night then to look ahead to the Sunday card as we get through week 2 of the fall meet at Keeneland. Good night.